everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to talk about the Azure Application Gateway. Okay, and we are going to deploy it, and later we are going to configure the application gateway to route the HTTP traffics on the Windows IIS server on port number 80. Okay, so before starting the video or the deployment and configuration, let's understand what is application gateway is. So this is the document which explain what is uh, Azure Application Gateway and what does it do. Okay, and so here reading at the document, we understand that the application gateway is an OSI layer 7 load balancer which routes the web traffics based on the URL, and it routes the traffic based on the URI path or the host headers and the HTTP request. Okay, so the traditional load balancer, okay, the traditional load balancers operate at the transport layer, that is the OSI layer 4, and it's routes the traffic based on the source IP and the destination IP, and source port and the destination port, and the type of the protocol, that is the TCP and the UDP. Okay, so in this example it is showing that how the application gateway routes the traffic. If the domain, that is the contosco.com, is accessed by a client, that is the end user, okay, and it is pointed to the application gateway, okay, and when the client tries to access the image path, okay, image URI after the contosco.com/images, okay, so then it is routed to the image server pool, and whenever the client tries to access the videos, it is routed to the video server pools. So these examples give a small information about the one of the feature of the application gateway, but application gateway has multiple features. Okay, these are the few examples of the features, like SSL terminations, auto scaling, zone redundancy, static VIP, okay, virtual IP, okay, a web application firewall, so that is for securing the application from the attacks. Okay, we can also use application gateway as an ingress controller for the Azure Kubernetes services, so this we have already seen. Okay, so and this is the diagram which explain how the application gateway works, or what are the components of the basic components of the application gateway. Okay, so from here to here, these are the basic components of the application gateway to work, and this is the client browser. When the client browser is going to access any application that is hosted on this backend server. Okay, so the application gateway means the FQDN or the application URL will be pointed to the application gateway's front-end IP, that will be the public, or it can be the private also. Okay, you can select whether you want to deploy a public or the private IP address for the application gateway during the deployment. Okay, so the public IP, so this IP, the front-end IP address, is always attached to a listener. That listener will be the HTTP or the HTTPS based on the configuration we are going to do. Okay, and that listener is connected to the backend server and the HTTP settings with the help of the rule. Okay, the rule is the thing which bind everything together. Okay, and so the request coming from the client will route to the server, backend server, using this 3 to 4 steps. Okay, that is the front end IP, the listener, and the rule and the HTTP settings. Okay, so these are the few basic components that helps the client to reach the backend server. Okay, remember, the application gateway don't host any application on itself. It always require a backend server to host the application. So in our case, I am going to deploy one virtual machine with Windows operating system, Windows Server operating system, and I am going to install uh, IIS server IIS on it. Okay, so that we can run a simple website, or you can say a sample application. Okay, and that sample application is going to run on the port number 80. Right now we are not going to configure any type of SSL or the HTTPS settings. Okay, so this will be the simple and the basic or the um, uh, example for the beginners who don't know the configurations or configuration of the application gateway. Okay, so let's start. We are going to start by deploying this virtual network and the virtual machine. Okay, so before the deployment of the virtual machine, I am going to deploy a virtual network. Okay, so I am going to search for here virtual network. Okay, I'm going to click on this create button, and I'm going to select my subscription where I'm going to deploy the virtual network. Later I'm going to select a resource group for the deployment. You can create a new resource group. Okay, and I'm going to give one VNet name, so I'm going to use VNet 2. This is an example, so I'm giving this name. If you are going to deploy this in the production environment, you should use a proper naming convention. Okay, so I'm going to click on next button, and in the security I'm not going to make any changes. There are some options like virtual network encryption, bash 10, firewall, DDoS. If you need anything, you can just go forward and do those configuration. I'm not going to do that. I'm simply going to click on the next button, and I'm going to configure this IP address for my virtual network, and this is my subnet. Okay, so I'm going to create one additional. I'm going to rename this first. I'm going to put here application. Okay, and I'm going to click on the save button. I will add one more subnet. Sorry. Okay, uh, that is going to be used by the application gateway. I'm going to type the name on the app gateway. Okay, so this is the second subnet. The first subnet we are going to deploy the virtual machine. The second subnet I am going to use for the application gateway deployment. Okay, so now I am going to click on the next button. I'm not going to put any tags. Okay, I will click on the review and the create button to create the virtual network. So this is the first step which we have completed. So now we have our virtual network to deploy the virtual machine in it. Okay, so this is my virtual network, and this is the namespace which I am using right now, and this is my subnets. There are two subnets, one for the virtual machine and one for the application gateway. Okay, I will click on the search bar and I will type virtual machine. I will click on create button. I will select virtual machines. Okay, to create a virtual machine, new virtual machine, I'm going to select my resource group. Subscription is already selected by default. If you have multiple subscription, then you can select accordingly. Okay, so I'm going to give a name to this VM, demo VM. Okay, I'm going to select the location Central India, and I'm going to select no infrastructure redundancy required, since this is a demo. In case if you are doing this for the production, you should select at least one of the the other options, okay, the availability options. Okay, security type I'm going to keep a standard. You can select according to your requirement. I'm going to use the Windows Server 2022. Okay, you can do all this configuration with some other means other operating systems also, like the Ubuntu, and RHEL, CentOS, and many other operating system from the marketplace. You can select any. For this demo, I am going to select Windows Server. I am going to select this size SQ. Okay, this is the cheap one for which I am going to use for this demo. So this is the user which I am going to use for the demo. I will put my password also. I will keep all other settings as a default. I will click on next button. I am going to use a standard SSD. That is the standard SSD is okay with development and testing. Okay, for production you should always prefer go with the standard SSD, premium SSD, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to select my virtual network which we have created, that is that 02, and this is the application subnet where I'm going to deploy my virtual machine. Okay, I'm going to create one basic NSG with the rule for this one, and for the HTTP as well. Okay, to run the website. uh, okay, so this option is not required here because we are going to use the application gateway. The application gateway can communicate with the browser, the virtual machine, because they are in the same network, so this rule will not required in the NSG. Okay, I'm going to uncheck this to shut down the virtual machine. I will keep rest all as a default, and I will click on review and create button. Okay, remember this video is about the deploying and application gateway, and the configuration of the application gateway and routing the HTTP traffics, or the request coming from the client's browser to the application gateway, and from the application gateway to the backend server. Hence, we are going to more focus on the deployment and configuration of the application gateway rather than the virtual machine deployment. If you want to see, or you want more information how to deploy a virtual machine, then you can visit my channel, and there is another video on Azure Cloud, how to deploy a virtual machine. Okay. Our virtual machine is deployed. Now we can click on the go to resource button, and it is ready and it is running. Okay, this is my private IP address which I am going to use in the application gateway for routing the traffic. Okay, so this will be the IP address that we are going to put here in the backend pool, and the public IP address of the application gateway is going to route all the traffic to that backend pool IP address. Okay, we can also use the NIC. Okay, so we have both the options. Okay, so I'm now going to deploy a application gateway. I'm going to search for application gateway on the top. Click on create button, application gateway, and again select the subscription, select the resource group, type a name for your application gateway, 0129. Okay, I'm going to select a location that is Central India. I'm going to keep the standard V2 version. Okay, enabling and auto scaling. It is required when you want to enable auto scale your instance based on the load. Okay, so this is another feature which allow to handle load by increasing the number of the instance application gateways instance running on the Azure platform. Whenever there is an increase in the load, it is going to increase the instance count. Whenever the load is going to be decreased, it is going to decrease the instance count. Okay, so based on this configuration, I'm going to keep only 2 for this demo. Okay, you can add more. Okay, so here the IP address type I'm going to use IPv4 only. If you want to use IPv6 also, you can check this box. I'm also going to use the HTTP2, that is the latest version of the HTTP protocol. If the client browser is using the HTTP2, this is another feature which application gateway supports, and allow the HTTP2 traffics also towards the application server. Okay, so now this is the time to select our virtual network, and I'm going to use the application gateway subnet, and we have to click on the front end IP. Okay, so we need one front end IP. So as I have mentioned earlier, we can create the public IP address, the application gateway as in public or the private, or we can use the both. Okay, so for this demo I'm going to use public, and I'm going to give one name to the, you can click on add. I have already one public IP address created, so I'm going to use that one. You can put here the name here, and you can click on OK to create a new public IP address. Okay, so I will click on the next button. I'm now going to click on next button. So I'm going to add a backend pool. Okay, so as I have mentioned earlier, we have two options. We can put the IP address of the virtual machine, that is the backend pool. So this is the backend pool, that the virtual machine which we have created, which is running the Windows IIS server. We can put that IP address in the backend. This is the backend. Okay, we can put that IP address here, or else we have another option to use this the virtual machine a NIC. Okay, the virtual machine directly itself. So you can do anyways. Okay, so both the option is valid. I'm going to put one name here, that is the backend pool, or you can put your application name also, for example xyz.com. okay, so like that, to identify use of the server. Okay, so I'm going to click on the add button. So we have the front end IP now. Okay, so this is the front end IP which I'm going to use the existing one. We have the backend pool now. This is the backend pool, the virtual machine's IP address or the NIC, anything you can add. Now we are going to create a routing rule. Okay, so the routing rule is going to be consist of two more things, that is the HTTP settings and the listener also. Okay, so all going to be together connect to the backend pool for the routing purpose. I'm going to click on this add button, add a routing rule, and I'm going to put routing rule 1. I'm going to give the priority 100. I'm going to put give my listener a name. Okay, that is 01, and I'm going to give this HTTP only. Okay, and I'm going to the backend target server. I'm going to select my backend pool, that is this server. Okay, and I'm going to select backend settings. Okay, this is the one, that is the backend settings, or you can say HTTP settings. Okay, so since there is no backend settings or the HTTP settings, we need to create one. I'm going to create one backend settings. Okay, our application is running on the port number 80, hence I am selecting everywhere the 80 and the HTTP. In case if you are using an HTTP settings, like if the application is running on the port number 443, then you have to select HTTP settings. Okay, so in our case we are selecting HTTP. I will click on add. Now the backend pool and the backend settings or HTTP settings is attached to our role. Okay, and the listener is also there. Okay, so this is what I am doing right now. So this is our rule. We have created and attached an HTTP settings. We have created and attached a HTTP listener. Okay, so and also we have attached the backend pool to the role successfully. And now I'm going to click on this add button. So it is going uh, to bind all the components together. Okay, to do the perfect routing. I'm going to click on the next button, and I'm not going to provide any tags. I'm going to click on next again. Okay, and click on the create button. Okay, so all these settings which I have created during the deployment of the application gateway, it is possible we can do after the deployment also. Okay, once the application gateway is deployed, you can add more applications and more HTTP settings, more HTTP listeners, and more backend pools to run multiple services, or the FQDNs or the applications or the APIs on the in the this backend servers. Okay, and the public or the clients from the public internet can access those application running behind the this application gateway. Okay, so the application gateway has the features like routing the traffics to the external IPs, also to other public IPs also. If you are hosting any application in the on-premises, then you can just redirect the traffic to the on-premises. You can also use the Azure VMSS, okay, VM skill sets for hosting your applications, and the application is can route the traffic to that VMSS. Okay, so let's see if our deployment is completed. I'm going to refresh this window. Let's wait for a few more minutes. uh, Still the deployment is in progress. Okay, so till the time the deployments get completed, we can just configure our virtual machine uh, for IIS. Okay, I'm going to copy this public IP address, and I'm going to start RDP window, and I'm going to paste the IP. Please remember, and to access the application using the application gateway, it is necessary to have an application running on your backend server. Okay, so currently we don't have any application or the website running on our on the application server or the backend server. Hence we are going to do that configuration parallelly till the time the application gateway deployments is in progress. Okay, so let's click on the IIS, okay, server manager, and just to install the IIS. Click next button, click next. So these are the dependencies that is required by the web server to run. Okay, and I will click on install button. Let's wait for a few seconds, and it is going to install. So the IIS is installed in the server. Now we can go to the administrator tools, and you can just check. Okay, so this is the IIS which we have installed successfully, and we can see on which port it is running right now. You can just click on this button, and you can see here it is showing port number 80, and protocol is HTTP. You can try to click on this, and okay, so it is, so this is the website which is running. You can click again and you can see again. So this is the website, this is the IIS server default or the sample website which is running inside the uh, server, okay, our backend server. Now I am going to the application gateway. Okay, I'm going to refresh this, and okay, so our deployment is completed now. You can see here. Okay, so our deployment is completed. I'm going to click on this application gateway here now, and let's see the backend health of the. Okay, so it is showing healthy. Okay, so let me show you what configurations we have done. So this is the backend pool, this is the backend settings, this is the front end IP address configuration, and this is the listener, and this is the rules. Okay, so we have a minimum to do any type of routing, the minimum number of the components which is required, it is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, these are the 5 minimum number of the components that is required for doing any type of HTTP or the HTTPS traffic uh, routing, web traffic routing towards the backend server. Okay, so the backend pool, as we know, it is the backend server. In our case it is in Windows virtual machine. Okay, it can be anything like the web app or the uh, mm, static website or the Windows machine that is hosted in the on premises, or also, else we can also redirect uh, the uh, application to some external, means the backend can be any external FQDN as well. Okay, external IP address also. Okay, so here we have multiple choice, like the IP address or the FQDN, the virtual machine, the VMSs or the app services. Okay, I'm going back, and this is the backend settings. Okay, so we can also say the backend setting as an HTTP settings. So this is the HTTP settings, and we have configured. Let me show you what is there inside the HTTP settings. So this is the name of the HTTP settings, and this is the protocol which we are using. This is the port on which our application is running. Okay, and you can select a host name also, but in our case I am not going to use any host name. I am going to use the IP address to run the application. So click on the cancel button. Let me show you the IP address. As we seen that we have both the option to keep private as well as the public IP address. Right now there is no public private IP address. I am going to use only the public IP address to run the websites. Let's put this in the browser and see whether the website is accessible or not. Okay, it is going to the HTTPS. Let me remove this as, and okay, so it's look good, and the the website which is running on the local host here, it is accessible from the public internet. Okay, that is from my laptop, and you can also do this and check. Okay, so now the application is routing through the application gateway. Okay, and so moving towards the listener, and let me show you what is there in the listener. So this is the name of the listener, and this is the front end IP which we are using right now. If you have both the IP address, then the private and the public, it will be listed here. If you have only the private IP address or the public, that will be listed here. In our case it is public, so it is showing here. So we have the protocol type, the HTTP, and the port number 80 here. I'm going to click on the cancel button. Let's click on the rules and check what is there. Okay, as we know, the rules combines all the three things together, like the backend pool, the HTTP settings, and the HTTPS and or the HTTP listener. Okay, so that is what here the role is doing here. The listener is here. Okay, this one, and if you go to the backend sub targets, then there is an backend pool, that is our virtual machine IP address or the NIC or any other destination, and this is the backend settings. Okay, so this is the backend settings. So we have combined all of them together, and now our application is routing successfully. You can put your FQDN here. Okay, so that's it in this video. Like the video and subscribe the channel, and please share this video with your friends and colleagues. For more videos you can reach to my channel.